sampai ke 7.
Miss Asi? Miss Asi, sorry, we lose your voice. It's suddenly disconnected. No, it doesn't change much.
Coba dilupa sini.
Nah, it's
Coba now?
yeah.
Sorry.
Great.
Okay, where was I? Okay, I'm gonna go super quick. PPT again, Mas Widi. The first one. I was at the third point, yeah. So communication across cultures. Again, I repeat, so it's not only about what you literally say or you literally communicate, but how you deal with different cultures would greatly influence how you survive in a global employability. And then, as we now are in a digital and modern world, it is totally normal for you to adapt digitally, and you need to find new ways to learn. Language as a flow, and not only subjects in your own major. And then, lastly, we're going to see how being fluent digitally and how mastering more than 2 languages probably will get you ready globally yet later on in the job market and etc. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Miss Valerie to introduce our speaker right now. We have 2 speakers here, Miss Carla and Pak Hendra Bakti. Screens on yours, Miss Valerie.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Asi, and hi again, Malang. Can I see some hands in the air? Okay, great, all clear. Nice. So let me introduce myself first a little bit. So my name's Valerie Chemistry, and I'm the content lead for Bilingua. And today I will be your MC, and I would like to introduce our speakers. So I will start from Miss Carla here.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
And also Pak Hendra over here.
Hello everyone.
So today we will be talking about what Miss Asi has introduced to you before. The topic will be about rethinking digital language skills for global employability. So Carla, you told me before that you had your experience as native speaker in Spain, and then you eventually reach out for global employability. You're now in Indonesia. Can you
Yes.
share a bit about yourself?
So actually, this is the third country I work at.
Third country?
I work in the UK, then in Italy, and now in Indonesia. And if it wasn't for languages, I wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't have done anything that I've done previously, work related, because all of the jobs I applied for, languages were required. So yes, now I'm in Indonesia with a kind of scholarship. It's not technically a scholarship because I'm not, and I wasn't a student when I applied for it, but I'm the awardee of this grant of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Spanish Ministry. And they send Spanish lecturers all over the world, and they send me to Indonesia. I mean, I actually applied for Indonesia, so.
You chose Indonesia. Any reason why?
I just wanted to be far away from home, and I think Indonesia, it was a really safe country and a nice place to live. I wanted to, of course, being so far away from home, be safe. And I thought maybe Australia, something like that. I said, no, I think Indonesia, yeah.
And have you tried any delicacies so far? How's your experience?
I have not so many as I would like to, though. It's like sometimes it's just I always go for the same things. I love like ikan bakar, ayam bakar, sate ayam, things like
You need to try Baso Malang, yeah? In Malang, later with Binusian Malang and Miss Asi. Hopefully one day Carla can go there.
I hope so. Yeah, I would love to.
And in terms of your experience, so actually Miss Carla and I have been working together. We want to make a new language for bilingua. We plan to launch this language soon,
Yes.
hopefully, and it will be Spanish.
That's it.
Yes. So how can language skills help students in Indonesia to also reach out for global employability the way you do?
So first of all, I'm going to comment on some data. Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world after Mandarin Chinese. The second most spoken as native language, of course. Is one of the fastest growing languages right now. It's actually the second most important language in the United States if someone is interested in doing so. And it's supposed to be, actually the United States is the country with most Spanish speakers after Mexico. So they even have more Spanish speakers than Spain or Colombia or Argentina. So for example, in the United States now it's essential to know Spanish, but I would say all around the world is kind of a requirement. I understand that all of you know English already, right? So Spanish would be like an interesting language to go afterwards.
I see. All right. So the next one, we would like to go to Pahendra here. So Pahendra, you are the manager of the LLC Bilingua. So can you share a bit about yourself and also how Bilingua can help students? How do we help students in Venus?
Okay, I think first of all, I actually wanted to share one of my unique experiences about with the language learning. Because it was really it's ridiculous because when back in high school, the English class was actually the most hated class to me. I always tried to avoid the English class because I think one of the main reasons was because my teacher taught the English lessons traditionally. I wasn't interested at all. Like we memorized words and then we did exercises. She would leave the class and then she
Just write it on.
Yes, left us on our own, but it wasn't really interesting. But when back in high school, like when I reached the high school, I actually got a very interesting English teacher. Like she tried new things, like incorporated games into her class. I started to build my interest in English, and that's why I decided to focus on studying the English language. So I think related to the digital language learning, I think one of the most important things in learning a new language, whatever it is, it's to find actually the most motivating part. Like need to find something that you can enjoy.
Yes.
Like that makes you excited about doing that thing, especially learning the foreign language and. Learning a foreign language digitally through a digital platform can be something that's so entertaining and fun to some people. And I think you can start from there, finding something that you enjoy.
Right. So we originally made Bilingua so that students can have their moments, learning. I think it's one of the things that digital language learning provide, because I'm also a digital language learner myself. As for Indonesian and English, I studied on site, but I'm learning, especially during the pandemic season. I started learning Korean and Spanish as well, and also Greek. So I wouldn't be able to do that if I have to, fly somewhere and find a tutor. But digital language learning provide me with that. So let's go to Carla a little bit more.
Sure.
So I would like you to share a bit about your journey and how the Spanish culture in general affect these chances for global employability.
The Spanish culture.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, when it comes to Bilingua, right, everything that I have created, all of the activities in the curriculum are thought for university students going out there into the employability world. The Spanish working culture is I would say, way different than other cultures. It's more like European style. For example, the 9 to 5 concept doesn't exist so much, just in like big companies. So when you learn a language, you also need to learn the culture and how it's going to be working in those countries to avoid misunderstandings. And the key thing is also that is you could follow your own pace, right? Because when you join a lesson with a lot of people, everyone goes at different levels, so the teacher has to, slow down a little bit sometimes. But in digital platforms, you can decide how fast you want to go and how much time you want to dedicate to it. And as Pahendra said, the most important thing is find your why you're doing it. What is that you want to achieve with that? Is like in my case, I wanted to learn scholarships. In Spain, the way to learn scholarships is by points, so you have to be a really good student. You need to have languages like certificates. It's not just knowing the language, you need the certificate, because if not, it's useless.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
And just knowing languages can help you land a better job. Bilingual employees get around 20% more paid than monolingual. So the benefits are actually infinite, right?
Right, definitely. So I see here that Miss Asi have prepared some PPT. So I would like Mas Window, please go to the part where Carla shared her experience. Yes, this one. So Carla, can you please share to Binusian Malang how has your language ability helped you to unlock the global employability?
So the first picture to the left, it was when I was studying English at university. I have a bachelor's degree in English specifically. I don't know how it translates out of Spain. And the other pictures are me in Italy. So in Spain, in Europe, we have a program called Erasmus. You can also apply for it because we have Erasmus Plus International, and you can go and study in Europe and they pay you. So it's a really nice opportunity. So most of us in Europe have this tradition, let's call it, of going on Erasmus on a third year because our bachelor's degree is 4 years. So I decided to go to Italy, and again, the way of getting this opportunity is knowing the language of the country you want to go to. And you need to get a sort of certificate. In this case, they are a little bit more flexible, so you can get like a not so official certificate from your university. So thanks to that, I studied in Italy for a year because it actually in the papers looks as you study in your home country. So it's a really nice opportunity. It's the teachers also are really chill with Erasmus students. We had a lot of, and then in my uni as a student, we had a lot of actually Chinese Erasmus people, students. So that was my first step, like thanks to languages. Then previously, I think it's another slide. Actually, before the Erasmus to Italy, I went to work as an au pair, like as a nanny. I was still a student in the UK, and from that I moved to London, and I was working as a host in a Spanish restaurant. So my friends they were waiters, but because I knew English, I was the host, so the conditions were way better. And after that, I got another scholarship from the Spanish government, and I went to Milan in northern Italy, and I was a Spanish assistant in a secondary high school. And again, one of the requirements was knowing Italian, because I also know Italian, right? And in this case, English, I applied for Italy, but I could apply for Ireland and get it because I had the English certificate too. No, you could go all around Europe, and again, the government pays you. So
that's nice.
It's like a scholarship. This was hard to get because it was just 15 places.
Wow.
So yeah, this was hard to get. And after that, I came back to Spain. I graduated. That's me with my grandpa on the right. When I graduated,
It's already correct, Mas Window.
Oh
yeah.
So that's my grandpa right there with the Italian style graduation crown. And thanks to the masters that I studied is how I got also the scholarship, because you need English, but also you need the masters.
Right. So How many languages can you speak in?
English, Spanish, of course, Italian, and Portuguese. I understand French, but I kind of quit some years ago. I need to take it again. But those four: English, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese.
And you're also studying Indonesian right now.
I have, yeah. No, I actually started like a year ago.
Uh-huh.
When they told me I was going to come here, I prepared. I do practice, but not at work. I speak English at work all the time. But I do practice in the street as much as I can. I have an online teacher. Yes.
Right.
And I also use language apps.
Right. So you mentioned that I remember the first time you came here and then you told me it's really hard to arrange a time with a local teacher.
Yes.
And that's, yeah, also I think the common sense of, studying itself, like the student and the teacher must have like the time where they can actually sit down and
Yes.
study. The teacher teach and the student studies. But in terms of current situation, we have a really fast-paced world and everyone's really busy. So sometimes it's really hard to, even just meeting for 30 minutes is really hard. So how do you think digital language learning can assist with that?
First of all, you have to auto-regulate yourself. You're able to organize yourself based on your own life. You don't have to depend on your teacher or your classmates. You can decide how much time you want to dedicate to learning language, and again find your why you're doing it, because if you don't have a why, you're just going to leave it or no, I will do it tomorrow. You need to at least do 15 minutes a day. It's actually better than 2 hours one day a week. It's consistency. Sure. And you can decide also how fast you want to go. You can put your own goals. And I think it's really nice. I do use language apps. I've always used them to either practice vocabulary talking about bilingual specifically, I have created in a way that is useful, because when I was doing Duolingo years ago in Italian, it was like I eat an apple, and what do you need that phrase for? Like I eat an apple,
yeah,
right?
Maybe
so,
I don't like apple.
Yeah, everything has been created in context, like everything you need to talk about your surroundings, and there's some specific units about university life, about scholarships, about talking about your professional experience, job interviews. So it's been really personalized by me. I took a lot of time to create the contents, and I'm really confident that they will be useful for students.
So, Binusian Malang, are you ready for Spanish bilingual? Who is excited to learn Spanish? Oh, I see some hands raised. Okay, yeah. So, maybe you can also tell them a bit, like what are the exercises that you have made for Binusian?
So we have reading activities, again based in context. So maybe you have a reading about someone talking about the scholarships he's applied for, or working experience. We have listening activities, grammar and vocabulary. Again, everything is really related to topics. So if we see vocabulary about the working environment, the reading is going to be about that. The listening is going to be too, until you really get you feel confident enough, to talk about that topic. We have created a 1.1, 1.2, a 2.1 and 0.2, so the A levels are almost ready, and you because Spain is in Europe and it's completely different Europe and Latin America, a whole different continent, of course. So
Exactly.
everything's different. Yeah.
So in terms of Miss Carla, I think we will have like a Q&A, short Q&A session with Miss Carla. Maybe we will open for Binusian Malang first. Any questions that you want to ask to Miss Carla? Please go ahead.
Any questions, everybody, to Ms. Carla, or anything related to Spanish culture? I have a few tokens of love for you. If you have questions for Ms. Carla or at this session whatsoever, pertanyaan, mungkin yang di Zoom ada. We have a few participants in the Zoom as well, Ms. Carla and Ms. Valerie.
Oh, okay,
Anyone?
please. Anyone joining in Zoom? Also want to ask? Okay, please. Anyone joining in Zoom?
Like there was a delay.
Delay.
Wait a second. Anyone? Anything related to Spanish culture? Okay, you might want to continue.
Okay, so let's continue first. In terms of my own experience when I studied Spanish, I found that the hardest thing to differentiate is the ser and estar,
Yeah.
and then female and male. Like in Indonesian language, we don't really differentiate unless it is the like local language. We have mas, mbak, and then in Indonesian in general, we just can say kakak or kak. But in Spanish, it's not only the men and women who are differentiated
Yeah.
by gender.
Every object.
Everything, like mesa.
Yeah, mesa is feminine and
Agua.
teléfono is masculine.
Yes.
Just because, yeah. I provide some tricks about gender. There is no specific rule though, because there are some exceptions, but there is a unit about gender, that one of the first units, and of course there's at least two, I think, if I'm correct, about ser and estar, the two verbs to be that we have. Yes, because I know it's something that we need to address since the beginning, so the mistakes don't become fossilized, because if not, I see them a lot on other students that I had, that if you don't get the right explanation for ser and estar, you will always get them wrong. So I'm pretty confident that the explanation of ser and estar that I created, I mean, I didn't invent it, but it's the best methodology that I've learned when I was studying my master's. So they will get it.
Right. And maybe for this time, I will go to Pahendra first. So Carla has shared to Binusia and Malang before that she has curated a really personalized Spanish language. And this is also our goal in Bilingua, that we don't want any random questions that perhaps are grammatically correct, but then the context is just like so blurred. So maybe you can share a bit about that, Mahendra, like why do we want Bilingua to be built this way, and what are our aims to do that?
Okay, that was actually interesting when Carla mentioned about the motivation. You know, like it's at the end of the day, it's a self-learning or self-regulated learning. Something that's pretty challenging for some of us or many of us, like because we started our school by having a teacher in front of us teaching us, guiding us, but now we have the so-called self-learning. So we are left to ourselves. So we need to manage our time and then our strategy to start and continue maintain our enthusiasm to learn a foreign language. And then of course it's really challenging to maintain our motivation. fun features into it. Like we're trying to develop some of the gamified features so that you guys can enjoy, like can learn Spanish, English, or any other foreign languages, but at the same time you can find some entertainment in it. Yeah.
Right. And I think this is really important, especially for Binusian Malang, because even like in Jakarta, Jabodetabek area, it's really hard to find native speakers or interact in English. You know, like when I stayed before, it was in Tangerang, and Tangerang is really close to the international airport, Soekarno-Hatta. We see a lot of bule or foreigners, but yeah, they don't really talk to us in English. And then even like if we go to, let's say, convenience stores, and then we as Indonesians suddenly, instead of saying "Mbak ini berapa," and then we're like, how much is that? Mbaknya will lihat kita kayak, oh my god gitu, udah bahasa Indonesia aja deh mbak gitu kan. They will not want to interact with us in English. So that's why when interacting with digital learning platform, we can actually maintain that level of engagement with the language, because the language exposure is what actually makes us fluent. Kalau misalnya kita tiap hari ngomongnya bahasa Indonesia terus, nggak mungkin ya kita bisa mengharap, gue pengen bisa jago nih bahasa Inggrisnya. Susah, karena exposure-nya sedikit banget. Dan mungkin teman-teman di Binusian Malang juga ngerasa ya, like maybe you don't have enough exposure to people who are speaking in English, not to mention in Spanish or other languages. Gitu kan. Mungkin malah adanya banyaknya ngomong bahasa Jawa ya, bahkan bukan bahasa Indonesia gitu. Jadi this is one of the reason why we really want to create an immersive language learning, and also for bilingual we have some updates ya Pak ya.
Yeah, that's actually one thing. You know, like the idea of being exposed to the target language is very crucial in language learning, especially language acquisition, because like a lot of experts, linguists, actually advocate this big idea. Like in order to be able to acquire a certain language, you need to be exposed to that particular language. But you know, in our case, like myself, and I like back in 2010, 2011, you know, like when I started my language learning journey, it was really hard to get myself exposed to native speakers, because I lived in Makassar, like a city so far from Jakarta. It wasn't easy. It was really difficult to find a foreigner, even if you found one, like they weren't interested to chit chat. So the existence of digital language learning platform enables us to interact, like to for example, as simple as listening to English audio or Spanish audio. It becomes much easier. And another thing that these digital platforms offer is the timeliness of the feedback. You know, like if you are interacting with a human teacher, of course, it's more dynamic, but if you wake up at 9 p.m. and then you have a question about a Spanish grammar, and then you contact your teacher, your teacher is most likely not going to be available. Like she will ignore your message, or maybe will you know, like scream at you. But with this digital platform, you can do the exercise, and then if you make mistakes, the system will provide you with the immediate feedback, and it's whenever and wherever you are. So it's more flexible in terms of place and in time.
And the feedback is really personalized too. It's not like correct and incorrect. Like
not only well done, but
there is an explanation when you get something wrong.
Right.
We wrote, okay, it's wrong because of this. Right. So.
Right, because if it's only like well done, like what is well done? What did I do? It's a bit confusing, but if it is clear, then it will also let us know, so that in the future we can remember the good parts and not stumbling into the bad parts anymore. So in terms of Binusian Malang, kalau kalian nggak mau nanya, saya nanya nih. Mau nanya dong sama Binusian Malang. Kalau di Malang tuh gimana belajar bilinguanya? Aman-aman aja kah? Atau ada yang mau ditanya nih? Kalau misalnya mau nanya boleh. Misalnya, oh, oke, sip. Mau nanya tapi lupa.
Menyampaikan isi hati.
This is so interesting actually. You know, like in language learning, there's something so-called what is the psychological block? The input hypothesis. You remember, like the theory saying that there is something like a psychological block that prevents the student from producing the language.
Yeah.
Especially if you are in front of a teacher or in front of someone who
Suddenly
might
blank.
be
Yeah.
yes, you feel like, oh, he's better than me. I'm not confident. But speaking to a computer, speaking to a system, a robot might feel a little bit more comfortable. You know, like, oh, it's she's not going to judge me because I make mistakes. See, like just like this, because you're interacting with a real human, so it's so hard to.
Just consider us as AI, even though we are humans.
Can you hear us?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I compiled a few opinions from our participants here.
Okay.
Taken earlier, must be showed us from the PPT probably.
Okay, so
Can you please show it again? A few.
There are actually two types of questions or concerns. The first one, I think it's something to do with the system. It's more of technical issues, and then the second one is something to do with the content itself. Yeah. Unfortunately, for B27, like we tried our best to make sure that every new features and every new every single piece of new content, new feature, or anything that we add to our platform is going to be available for B27. Some more questions, some more variations, like some units actually don't have all the necessary skills, like the reading and the listening. But for the newest a version of bilingual content, we have made it equal for every single unit. So every single unit you will experience the same the same number of questions, and also the same skill set. Like you will have listening, reading, grammar, the same amount of question. So that's actually for the new version. And also as for the technical issues, we have done some improvements, like the automation. So if you had some difficulties when resubscribing the course, now it's become automatic. So once you get logged and then you hit the button to resubscribe the course, it will automatically activate your course, and you're able to continue with your journey. But back in 2023, 2024, it wasn't. Some of you.
Try to do your bilingua, not directly 1 until 4 hours. You will be dead. I'm sure. Yeah, because I mentioned before that I'm also a language learner, and when I studied Spanish, when I studied Korean, when I studied Greek, and I study more than 30 minutes, my head will be blown away. Kayak langsung korslet gitu ya guys ya. Tapi kalau misalnya belajarnya dicicil 10 menit, 10 menit, 15 menit. 10 menit, 15 menit itu sambil kita ngantri jajan di kantin ya, nunggu mbaknya masakin, atau kita lagi ngantri di convenience store mau beli apa, itu 10-15 menit nge-scroll, dengerin video bentar, dengerin audio bentar, kerjain bentar, itu ngefek banget. Sekarang saya sudah di level B2 untuk Koreanya, dan Spanyol juga nanti mau ambil tes. Kemudian untuk Greeknya juga di level C1. Jadi untuk ini semua saya pelajari step by step itu dengan 10 menit, 10
just
menit.
like Kala mentioned, it's about time management.
Yes,
like
that's true.
You need to decide it in the first place how much time you want to spend each day. Like
Yes.
10
And
minutes,
make it
15 minutes should be
realistic,
okay.
yeah.
As long as you do it regularly, you maintain the pace.
Exactly.
I think the most important part is also the process. Instead of reaching the finish line as soon as possible, I think it's also very important to enjoy the process.
You have
because
to.
like learning
Yeah.
a language is like it's a long journey. It's not something that will
True.
happen overnight. They like binge watch an anime, like it's 20 episodes in one night.
And the
It's
more
not
you
gonna happen.
know, the more you enjoy.
Yes,
Because
it's
the
true.
beginning normally is a little bit frustrating, right? It's like I want to say so much and I'm not able to. But it's that
Yes.
precise moment that you need to have patience.
Yeah.
Then the more you know, it's like, oh wow, now I'm able to say this and then that. I became
Yes.
so happy that one day realized, I can speak the language.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember
Yes,
the
that's
day I
true.
dreamed in Italian for the first time. I was
Yeah.
like, yes,
It's the sweetest moment of learning a language. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And like when that's also one of the features that we make sure exist in Bilingua. So if you open your Bilingua and if you are B28, you will see there are videos. And after videos, you will move on to the exercises. And some of the exercises contains like you have to fill in the blanks.
get to the finish line on time before the enrichment program. So we are aware of those problems and the technical issues, the struggle in finishing the courses, but at the same and that's why we are here providing you the assistance. Is it's available online and on site. I think all of you know that you have to Miss Asi is just a few steps away. So if you have any problems, you can reach out. And also we're available
definitely.
online if you are somewhere else and then you want to reach out to us online. We're also available on Zoom from Monday to Friday. So yeah, out of our commitment to help the
Yes, please don't be shy ya, Binusian Malang, langsung aja. Miss Asihnya juga baik kok, nggak ngegigit. Okay, so
Miss Val,
Yes.
actually a few questions.
oh sure.
Mungkin malu ngomong sendiri jadi saya bantu komen.
Okay.
Is it okay to ask question for Miss Carla first?
Okay,
Sure,
please.
of course.
Sorry if I mistakenly pronounced it, but I have a genuine question. Is there so much of a difference between the Mexican Spanish and the, how do I say it, Castilian one?
Castilian Spanish,
Castilian.
yes.
Yeah.
So we do understand each other, especially in Mexico. I wouldn't say is one of we're actually really exposed to Mexican Spanish since we're children because of the same reason as Indonesians, and that is the telenovelas. I watched many when I was a child. So you start like getting their vocabulary. The pronunciation is mostly the same. I would say there's other countries that you could strike a little bit more like Chile. Or some Central American ones, or the ones that have a lot of indigenous population because they speak like a kind of broken Spanish, some of them. But again, we completely understand each other, and especially if it's between people that are educated when it comes to Spanish, they have studied. We completely understand each other. Mostly what it changes is slang, but for a working or university, I mean, if you're a student in Mexico, yes, you need to know their slang. But if you are just planning to work for a company and that company makes business with Mexico, you will have to speak formal Spanish, and that's the same for everyone.
Right, it's kind of like maybe like English, like British English and Australian
or
English.
American, like they understand each other, right? So it's basically the same. It's same language, especially academically. We all learn the same language.
Right. So how is it, Miss Asi? Has it answered the question?
It's actually kind of cool that someone actually know the difference between. It proves that they know something about Spanish, right?
Yeah, cool.
It's huge interest on learning Spanish because I don't even know how to pronounce Castilian. Just some students asked it. Okay, we have a second question still for Miss Carla.
Okay.
During your journey, what language do you think helped you the most to get through your day-to-day experience? Well, probably around the world.
I mean, I would say English, but because my native language is already Spanish. If I would not be Spanish, maybe Spanish would be useful. That depends what your goals are. I mean, of course, English, we all know. I'm not going to just say English is not probably the most relevant, most essential language that you need to learn right now. But I assume you all know English already, right? So if you want to, the problem is that like knowing English right now nowadays is not something that differentiates you from the rest.
Yeah.
Because we all know it. Of course, it's essential.
Mainstream, yeah.
If it wasn't for English, of course, I wouldn't be here. But you know English already. So if you want to be different from the rest of the people, just try to add another language to that.
Add some more.
Yeah, it's true.
And next to English, the most important one is Spanish. So what I'm supposed to say.
So we can show us the like I said, the
map,
most
yes.
Yes, the map, please.
the language in high.
I studied for my master degree in California, and that's also one of the reasons what triggers me to eventually study Spanish.
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe like to add to that question, compared to let's say our parents' generations, maybe at that time their day-to-day life just require Indonesian and English, and that's enough, right? So maybe that's why parents suggest to their kids, hey kids, you need to study English. But they don't really suggest their children to study something else. However, I want to encourage you, Binusian Malang, to notice how the world changed. And especially nowadays with, economy getting really strict and everything, we have a lot of competitors. People who can speak English, like there are so many in the world.
Mostly everyone at this point.
Yeah, almost everyone. So how can you be different? How can you be unique? How can you stand out? Because when let's say you apply for work after you're done with your enrichment, what will make your CV stands out? Like additional language such as Spanish or perhaps Korea that we will also add to Bilingua coming soon. Please wait for it. It will help you to improve yourself and the skill that comes along with it. Jadi bukan cuma kayak next, udah selesai, udah langsung enrichment, udah kelar. Enggak ya. There are some important skills that you can actually get from that will be really useful for your future. Okay, so does this answer, Miss Asi?
Yes, thank you. And we have more questions.
Okay.
If that's okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, hello, can you see me?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so my name is Lucky Sanamadani, but you can call me Lucky. So I have a bit of a question for about language learning in particular. So as we know, in this globalization era, there are like a lot of media that we can use to learn language. Not like probably like a few years ago, we can only learn language through like maybe like books or etc. But now we have internet, so we can learn language by like movies, and then also like interacting with like overseas people throughout social media. And so I want to ask about what do you think is the best option or like the best way to learn a new language, especially like in this era. And probably this is for Pak Hendra too. Do you also like plan on implementing those new trend or like those new way of learning into bilingua in the future? Like for example, probably like we can like for example, if it's about movie, we can watch clip of movie and then you have to ask to summarize it or something, etc. That's all from my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucky. Yes. Who's first? Carla?
Go first.
Okay.
Please.
So, I mean, of course, the most useful way to learn a language ideally is move to a country that they speak the language and be constantly exposed to it. But if you don't have that opportunity or you don't have it yet, as we mentioned before, you need to be disciplined. I've seen a lot of people when they quit a language is because they don't know what they want it for. When I was 16, as I think I mentioned it before, I quit French because I was 16. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. French was not any priority, right, in my life, and I regret it a lot because now I know how languages have helped me in my career and how they will continue to help me. I mean, my personal goal also is to learn Indonesian, like become fluent at some point and add that to my curriculum too. And as many languages, I will be always a language learner. I think that the way is, as Hendra mentioned before, is to enjoy it. And I like what you proposed is watching films. The best way for me actually to learn English in the past was not so much university, because my degree was not so focused on teaching English but doing things in English. So you will have to kind of know it by yourself already. And I will just watch TV shows, Netflix shows, and read books, just things that you enjoy. So if you enjoy football, just watch, my boyfriend is learning Spanish, and he loves football. So what he does is just watches football matches.
The comments.
That comments in Spanish. It's something that you do.
Yes.
You need to enjoy. You don't need to dread the moment of learning that language. You need to understand why it's beneficial for you. You don't need to see it as an obligation, as I maybe taught maths class when I was a student, right? It is something that not only will open you many doors when it comes to working opportunities, but you will have the opportunity to meet a lot of people around the world and meet them deeply, not just superficially. Because when we speak a second language, it's kind of like having an alter ego.
Mm-hmm.
And until you're not fluent, you're not yourself really. So I think it's really interesting to learn other languages and be completely exposed to it in a way that you enjoy it. Just for vocabulary, something that I like is put post-its around the house on the objects until I learn. And once
Like
I learn the name of the
mention,
object,
yeah.
I take the post-it away. You know, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it makes sense. And I think that's also interesting that Carla mentioned that a community can help with the immersion of the
Yes.
language. And for Binusi and Malang, you realize you do have Be Mentor, right? So your Be Mentor will help you to get into that community. Maybe for now, because Spanish and Korean are still on the way, we haven't had Be Mentor who help you with Spanish and Korean. But once it exists, and previously we have like really good questions about different types of Spanish, it means there are people there who actually knows your friends. You know, you can also enlarge your community, maybe somehow connect with Be Mentor, the ones in Jakarta and also other campuses across Indonesia. You know, like Binus have so many campuses, and you know, you can grow your skill but also your networking through language and even expand to other countries. What about you, Pahendra?
Yeah, that's interesting. What is the best way of learning a language? You know, what I personally believe is that there is no such thing as the best way to learn a language, because at the end of the day, it's going back to our personal preference.
That's it.
Some people find it more comfortable to start learning a language by going through the grammar rules. Like I think it's my very initial step of learning English was starting by learning the grammar rules, and I found it enjoyable to me. But some people find it boring, like what is this rules? But to me personally, I really like it. So some people, you know, like some experts advocate immersion, like by you know, for example, like the things that you mentioned, watching movies or listening to Spanish podcasts, just by exposing yourself directly to the target language. Some experts also believe that you need to start by learning the rules first. But yes, number one is you need to start. I think that's that's the key point. Like you need to start, because if you just thinking about learning Spanish or Arabic or any other foreign languages, you will never get to the to fluency if you don't start. And start by something that you feel comfortable, enjoyable, watching movies or maybe learning the grammar rules, or reading novels, comics, you know, like things like that. But another thing is you know, language is a skill. So after listening to audiobooks, to watching Netflix, you know, learning the grammar rules, at the end of the day you have to use the language. In like there are many possible settings that you can maybe you can try to have a conversation with your friends, like maybe joining a community, you know, and doing maybe writing a diary using English or Spanish, like using the language that you have learned, consciously or unconsciously. Yeah, that's actually my 2 cents on this question. And I think here's another question about
How to implement it in bilingual.
We do have a plan, Luki. So one of our immediate plan, actually, we were planning to do this next year.
Sneak peek,
is adding some immersive language learning on Bilingua. So we were planning to maybe incorporate some audiobooks or like some authentic materials, you know, like maybe songs, maybe movies, or things like newspapers, and also and make you guys do something about these authentic materials, so that language learning feels more authentic, contextual, so it's not detached from the real world.
Exactly.
That's really one of our plans, and we hope we can do it next year. Yeah. And also I think I forgot to mention the AI. So one of the drawbacks of our platforms right now, Bilingua, is that students don't have enough opportunity to practice their language, either through speaking or writing. So this year we are developing some AI, some AI features that will enable our students to speak directly to the system, or write some text, and then the AI, the system, will provide you with some immediate and personalized feedback. So we hope to do the pilot this year, and expecting to run it, implement it fully maybe next year. So yeah, we're excited about it.
Yeah, so stay tuned, Binosian Malang, and please do your Bilingua, so you can also try and get to know those new features. So thank you so much, Lucky. Does that answer your question? Okay, great. Anyone else?
Anyone else? Okay, we have a question.
But now Lucky is the host.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, my name is Katrina, and I am Venusian 2028. I have a question specifically for Miss Carla about the Spanish of the Spanish language culture. So the question is, how does dialectical diversity affect learning and teaching Spanish? That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
The dialectical, right? No, it doesn't affect you. Again, as I told you, when it comes to formal Spanish and academic Spanish, it's exactly the same. It's just about slang and culture. So if you have to work, or if you work in an Indonesian company that can make business with a Latin American country, you do have to learn some cultural notions. But when it comes to the language itself, there's no misunderstandings. I mean, there's a couple of words that in colloquial spoken language is better to know, because maybe in Spain it's normal, in Argentina, for example, it's like a really funny thing, right? But yeah, when it comes to an academic setting or a working setting, is not going to affect you in any way. So the Spanish that we're offering in Bilingua, you can apply it in any situations. Even though I'm Spanish from Spain, you can use everything in every situation. None of the vocabulary that I've used in the activities should change from one country to the other.
And I think I want to add on that one. If Binosian Malang, do you know an Indonesian man named Irwan Prasetyo? So he was a Japanese person, and then he moved to German, and he became the top manager of Adidas there. And now he is recently promoted as senior manager. So he speaks really Medok, really Medok, but he could even climb to that high position in just 3 to 4 years. Like, it's really amazing. So please be sure that your dialect will not really affect your language skills. It's more to your fluency and whether you can understand your people who you work with or not. It's a plus if you can speak like the native, but it's not like a 100% rule that you have to.
It's not a realistic goal.
Yes.
A more realistic goal is the mutual intelligibility, right? Between us. But it's interesting when you mentioned about the collocation. Like, some collocations are actually funny when it.
Some colloquial language can be really funny. Like, can lead to some misunderstandings.
Yeah.
I think the example. No.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe in terms of that, I would suggest you to pay more attention to similar words that kind of sound the same. but it's actually really different.
Yeah,
So,
false friends.
yeah, can
Yeah.
you give us some example, Carla?
Yes. So if I say, I mean, I will have to embarazada. What do you think it means? Embarazada.
So feel free to answer ya, Minusian Malang. Kira-kira embarazada tuh apa ya artinya?
Just thinking in
Bisa nebak
English,
nggak?
of course. You have to think in English. If I say embarazada, what does it come to your mind?
This is Spanish word ya, embarazada. Anyone can answer? Kalau salah nggak apa-apa, nggak digigit. Ya?
Is it embarrassed?
It should it should be embarrassed, but it is pregnant. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of people say like, oh, estoy embarazado, and
Yeah.
especially when a man says that, it's like physically impossible, right? So there's many false friends between Spanish and English. Yeah.
Yeah, so those kinds of things, like when you learn language, you also need to know the context as
Yes.
well. So I think there's, I asked you before about sabes.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like you say,
Conoces.
conoces. Yeah, so when let's say we check the Netflix and then, no, sabes?
Yeah.
Or like, no, conoces? Like, what's the difference?
We
right?
have, yeah, it's like we have to birth to be and to birth to know, and all of these things you need to see them. Like, I think in that case, if you learn the grammar is faster, because if you're exposed to the language, you sometimes need to, listen to a lot of phrases in different contexts to get when it's sabes and when it's conoces, for
Yes.
example. So in that way, sometimes grammar is faster,
Mm-hmm.
even that exposure. Exposure is better for your intonation, your pronunciation, and losing the fear to speak,
Yeah.
But for being accurate, like doing a grammatical approach tends to be better. So both, every approach, of course, has their own benefits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
something that I see a lot not so much in South Asian students as I see like in North Asian students, is the obsession to be perfect. People are so
Yeah.
afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Especially when we actually had like a 3 or 4 Korean people coming to our exams, Spanish exams, this last weekend in Jakarta, and it's like they punch themselves every time they make a mistake. It's like, oh no, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with making mistakes. It's the best way to learn a language. Making mistakes and waiting for someone to point that you made a mistake. No one is judging you. They're actually trying to help you.
Yes, like this one, I believe Binusian Malang will forever remember embarazada itu bukan embarrassed tapi hamil ya, pregnant. Dan pasti kalian langsung ingat nih karena sempat bikin salah. But making mistakes is part of learning, and also when you get to know the context,
Exactly.
yeah, it will really help you to differentiate and navigate. So later, once you've done your enrichment, once you, let's say, study abroad or work abroad, you will not make that mistake in front of your colleagues.
But one of the most surprising realities to me was like back in the US when I did my master's degree, I had the opportunity to work in the dining hall. So some of my coworkers were Chinese cooks, like they came from China with very minimum English. Like so they didn't speak good English, but their English was understandable. So some people learn a new language for fluency, only for fluency. So as long as they can speak fluent enough, and then
They feel cool.
the language is intelligible, understandable,
Yes.
they should be fine. Some people study a language for accuracy, maybe
Yes.
for teaching purposes or something, like for some more academic purposes. Maybe you go for more accuracy, but for employability, I don't think I personally think that accuracy should not be the goal.
Yeah, it is not. It
As
shouldn't
long as
be.
you can interact with your managers, with your coworkers, of course, your accuracy will get better.
But you have dictionary for
Yeah.
the accuracy to double check, actually, right?
but as long as you can make it understandable and then
right.
not taking too much time just to say
This is what I want. Yeah.
want to eat, it should be fine, I guess.
Many
Right.
of the most successful businessmen or women in the world that they speak English as a second language. They have a strong accent and still they're really successful because it's part of their personality. And again, and as long as they can be understood, you know, what's the problem? And in Spanish and Latin American culture, we really, really, like Indonesians, I will say it's the same, appreciate people learning our language. For example, if you go to France, this is completely different. Spanish people, we hate France, by the way. So if you go to France and you make any like minimum mistake, they will correct you and pretend they don't understand you because you're not making like the right sound. And in Spain, it's like you can be making one mistake after the other and people will be like, oh, you're doing great. You know, so you don't have to be afraid of speaking
Really
Spanish
positive.
in front of native people.
Yeah, like in some countries it's stigmatized. In some communities,
Yeah.
like you know, like in the US itself, like if you enter a certain community and then you speak a broken English, those people will judge you internally, like, oh, these people should be from this
Level,
socioeconomic.
But they are monolingual
society.
though. They judge you, but they only know one language.
Yes.
While in Asia and in Europe, most of us know
That's
two
ridiculous.
languages.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
so-
kind of like in Korea, you have Panmal and Chondenmal. Like, if you're talking with one style, it means you're this skill, and if you're
Okay.
talking about that one, that means you're in that level. But I really want to use this moment to, back again, encourage all Binusians, especially Binusian Malang, like, please don't be afraid to make mistakes. Please use Bilingua to help you to be immersed in that language learning skill. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And when you're reaching out to us, it doesn't always have to be like technical issue. Like, Kak, bitsnya kok nggak ada audionya? Kak, kok soal ini hilang gambarnya? No, but you can actually ask us as well. Kak, ini aku udah lihat videonya. Aku pengen belajarin vocabnya. Ini gimana ya biar aku bisa lebih nyambung? Atau gimana aku bisa mendapat lebih banyak manfaat ya Kak dari sesi ini? Dan kalian juga bisa follow dari podcast. Kita punya podcast di Bilingua. Dan sebenarnya kita selalu post tiap sebulan sekali untuk YouTube-nya, dan juga ada juga yang versi Spotify-nya. Jadi boleh di-follow ya, teman-teman Binusian Malang. Hopefully this can also help you to enhance your skill. And since we're almost in the end of this session, I would like to ask Carla, what is the one thing that Binusian Malang can take home today from this lesson?
So for me, I think the thing that you have to then go back home and reflect on is, why am I doing whatever I'm doing? Why do I want to learn,
The why.
even if it's not Spanish, guys, whatever language you want to learn of bilingual platform? Why am I doing it? Because until you don't, it's like everything in life, if you don't find your purpose, it's like if you're gonna go on a diet or exercise or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, we'll do it Monday, you know. You need to understand that this is useful for you, and maybe the things that we've shared today with you guys can be inspiring in some way. I mean, I am in the other side of the world. Sometimes I think about it, it's like, oh, it's crazy. I'm literally in the other side of the world. And how I managed to do this, not because I'm, you know, everyone can make it if I could make it. And there's many opportunities for you. I talk about what I know in Europe. We have this scholarship that you can go study in Spain, you do your master's, do your internship, just get an international experience and practice your language with Bilingua before you go anywhere. That would be an amazing thing. And just don't be afraid of making mistakes, of course. I make mistakes every day when I speak Indonesian, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Actually, Miss Carla's Indonesian is already really good.
I understand more than I speak, yeah, but I'm trying.
I would like to hear Miss Carla speak in Indonesian.
Wow. Okay, please.
Let's go.
Okay, okay, I don't know what to say right now. Okay, nama saya Carla, saya dari Spanyol. Saya adalah dosen bahasa Spanyol, no? Saya kerja di BINUS kampus.
Oh,
Ya.
Oh,
great. You're doing great. You're not saying.
Di sini ada 10.000 yang tepuk tangan sebenarnya, tapi tidak sebenarnya.
Okay. And what about from Pahendra? What is the key takeaway from this session?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same. So your goal is so important. Like, what is your goal? Setting the goal first, because that's actually the answer to the why that Carla spoke about. Like, why am I doing this? Because I have this goal. Like, if your goal is to work abroad or maybe to get married with a person from
That's also motivation, I guess.
it's okay. Like,
I mean, it is.
it's okay to have your own goal, right? Like whatever it is, but as long as you have the goal, it will determine your steps. Because if your goal is, for example, to work abroad, I want to work in Korea, for example. So one of the things that you need is to, maybe it's going to be easier for you if you can speak the Korean language. So you need to start from there, right?
Yeah.
So when doing that painful journey of learning a new language, it feels rewarding because you have this goal. Like, okay, I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm doing this because I have this goal. I think it's really important to ask yourself, like, come home and then ask yourself, what's my goal? What am I going to do in the future after doing this study at BINUS University?
And
what
do
am I going to do?
enrichment.
And
Yeah.
that's going to answer the why question, like, why am I doing this? So with that being done, doing bilingual is going to be effortless, because that's something bigger that you are chasing.
Right.
Exactly.
Cool.
Because it
Good
will
luck, everyone.
inspire. Right, it's true. So good luck, everyone. Please do your bilingua, and we're always here to help. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Miss Asi is also there, really ready. I always see Miss Asi is
24/7.
online. Yeah, she's almost always online. Like,
Yeah, she's 24/7 available.
amazing, Miss Asi. So I'll give this back to you.
Sid, can we have a little photo session, please? I mean, you're here as the background, and then
Okay,
we're
sure.
Telepon, mungkin bisa bantu ke depan, teman-teman, kita foto sebentar. Lucky, can you please help? Walaupun kita jauh, tetap foto bersama ya.
Oh iya dong, harus dong.
Yang di Zoom coba open cam.
Yang di Zoom open cam dong. Itu siapa tuh?
Ada beberapa, itu bi mentor saya yang ada di Zoom.
Oh, boleh dong, biar foto bareng yuk, kita yuk.
Itu ada.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oke.
Ini mana? Oh ya, oke. A few minutes, sebentar kita atur dulu.
It didn't capture my full body.
Oh jauh dong, mesti tidak gigit. Ayo, sini berapa? 2 sampai 3 baris.
How does this work? Like, we can see that.
All good, looking?
Oke.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Is it okay? Udah?
Oke. This is for bapak-bapak.
Wait ya, visual.
Oke.
Ruangannya kecil, jadi dia harus terbang dulu. Oke, kamera. Gak apa-apa.
3, 2, 1, lagi. 3, 2, 1. Saya bebas. 3, 2, 1.
Lagi dia bebas.
Wait.
We have like, gimana ya caranya? So we do this for Malang. This is like
Oh,
I think like
this.
of Malang. Can you
Illumination.
Oh.
like this?
What is it?
Okay.
Like
Can you do this?
What does it mean, Miss Asi? What does it mean? M, Malang. M for Malang.
Boys, it's called boys. Boys is awesome. Boys.
Oh.
Is awesome.
So it's only for
Can you
boys.
do that for us? Okay, thanks.
Oh, okay.
Ya, screenshot nasi di.
3, 2, 1.
Wait, oh.
Thank you. Nice. Finally, Miss Carla drew boys for us. Nice. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the session, Miss Carla.
Thank you so
and Pak
much.
Hendra and our lovely lovely Master of Ceremony, Ms. Val.
Thank
The makeup is
you.
on point today. Thank you. Okay, so I think this will conclude this semester's JLLC BPS in Malang. Again, thank you very much for sharing a lot of knowledge, a lot of tips. And we actually have more questions, but we'll
Feel free to send it to our podcast
I will.
comments. Yeah, and also B Corner, Bilingual Corner.